Okay, let's dive in. We're looking at a pretty chilling analysis of a hypothetical US-Iran conflict, a round two, so to speak.
And the sources lay out this decision tree that shows how things could escalate, and I mean really escalate fast.
Right, straight into an existential threat. And the thing that jumps out immediately is that the initial decision to greenlight this conflict, it's not even treated as a risk.
No, it's presented as a strategic certainty. The sources actually quantify it, giving it an IRL score of 8.4. Highly probable.
And that's driven by two key pressures. Right?
Exactly. First, you have the hegemonic alliance imperative, basically a now or never demand from key allies.
Specifically Israel, looking at Iran's nuclear progress and feeling they need to act.
Right. And then you combine that with what the sources call the domestic crisis level.
The classic wag the dog factor. You need an external conflict to, unify things at home.
And that political necessity it overwhelms any strategic reluctance.
Okay, so let's get into the tactics. The sources mention this really interesting shift to a carrier-optional posture.
Yeah, the idea being you remove the big high-value targets, like a carrier strike group, to deny Iran a clear, lucrative target.
Which makes sense, and this is the part I can't quite square, the analysis says the whole thing escalates after the televised sinking of an American aircraft carrier.
That's the paradox, isn't it?
It is. How does that even work?
Well, the sources suggest that the initial conventional attack just NOSed. It fails. Iran's asymmetric defenses, which they've spent decades preparing, are too effective, and a major U.S. ship goes down.
But a single ship sinking leads directly to a nuclear option. I mean, is that a strategic calculation?
No, not at all. The analysis is very clear on this. It's purely psychological.
Psychological.
They call it an absolute and intolerable narcissistic injury to the U.S. president. The decision stops being strategic and becomes compulsive, a need to restore dominance.
And this is enabled by a specific group within the administration.
Yes, the MIGA advisory faction, a hardline group that, according to the sources, actively neutralizes any counsel for de-escalation.
So the conventional war fails, the U.S. makes a nuclear move. What is Iran's final card, according to this?
Their ultimate deterrent, an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse.
And the capability is there?
The sources seem to think so.
Yeah.
They point to reverse engineering from something acquired through the Kazakhstan connection, or maybe collaboration with North Korea.
But hold on, what about the Supreme Leader's fatwa? The religious prohibition against nuclear weapons and indiscriminate slaughter.
And that is the most chilling part, the theological loophole.
A loophole?
They framed the high-altitude nuclear explosion, the Hain, as electronic warfare. It doesn't target souls, you see. It targets systems.
Technology.
Exactly. The mass casualties from the societal collapse that follows are just rationalized as a secondary consequence, a result of the enemy's own technological fragility.
And the delivery system sounds terrifying.
It is. A fractional orbital bombardment system, or FOBS. They could use an existing satellite asset, like a NUR-2. It attacks from orbit.
So it just bypasses everything, all those multi-trillion-dollar missile defenses.
A genuine bolt from the blue. There's no defense.
Let's pause there and break down what that actually means on the ground. This isn't just the lights going out for a bit.
Not even close. You get two waves of destruction. First is the E1 pulse.
E1.
Think of it as a hyperfast wave that fries every microchip. The ECU in your car, your phone, the SCADA systems that run water treatment plants.
All of it gone.
Instantly. It's too fast for surge protectors. Then comes the second, slower punch.
The E3 pulse.
Right. And that one couples with long lines, like power lines, and it physically destroys the large power transformers, the LPTs.
And those are the real problem. They're not exactly off-the-shelf parts.
Not at all. They're massive, custom-engineered. Takes 18 months, maybe 4 years to replace one, and that dictates the duration of the collapse.
Years. And on top of that first E1 pulse, it also takes out the backup generators at nuclear power plants,
leading to dozens of simultaneous meltdowns across the country.
Which brings us to the conclusion from the Congressional Commission on EMP. They call it the one-year die-off.
A 90% U.S. population mortality rate. It stabilizes society at a pre-industrial level.
So when you put it all together, the synthesis here is that this path becomes plausible because of this awful convergence of geopolitical pressure, a psychological failure in leadership.
And this profound technical vulnerability that we've just allowed to exist.
The core failure, then, according to this analysis, is prioritizing offensive power projection, these hugely expensive aircraft carriers, over what is relatively low-cost hardening of the homeland grid.
Which leaves a pretty profound question for you, the listener, to think about.
Why has the political will been so consistently absent for a defense that costs less than a single carrier?
But guarantees national survival against an existential threat they've literally spent decades planning for.